Yo, 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 what is going on, RoK Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today I wanted to talk about something serious. And what I wanted to talk about that's serious is that I wanted to touch on the idea of having a project leader slash founder of a project that, just in short, comes across competent, knows their stuff, and really can be that beacon of hope, right? That representative for you that as new players to the game, slash just maybe even veteran jumpers, you just need in order to see higher levels of success. And this is really factored into quite a few areas, right? It's factored into how leaders and or founders present themselves, how they talk to people, their level of accessibility, how they sound, how they come across. Do they have what you would consider to be leadership traits and characteristics? Do you see yourself being able to support these individuals and believe in what their mission is, their goals, their visions? And so we're going to touch a little bit on that today. As always, before we get started, if you enjoy the content, make sure you sub, like, ring the notification bell. If you want to join and be a part of our conversation, hit up the Discord. You can find a link to that in the pinned comment description right down below. And as always, right, make sure you guys check out the Jumper community. There will be a link in the pinned comment and description, I think, of this video, as well as having a direct one on our channel. So the thing I want to touch on, and I don't necessarily know how long this video will be, but I just wanted to say generally, and maybe even broadly to an extent, that for those of you that have seen, me cover and do, my jumper project review videos, the last one I did was, oh gosh, I'm not even sure. Hang on, let's see real quick, right? If we go to live now, I can see, right, we did a guide, we did drama, I think we did here, right? So we did this one on the 31st. So it's been, 10 days since we did our last jumper project review video, which means that probably in a couple of days I'm going to end up doing another one, right? I want to try and have them done like every 2 weeks, give or take. And so, I think I think when you look at the amount of projects that are currently, in existence, if you will, right? So if I was to go to, what am I doing? Is it news, I think, right? I didn't have that right. It's official news, my bad. So if you just look at, merely the amount of projects, right, that are happening January, you look at the ones that are happening in February, I would probably argue and say that maybe one or two of these projects I think have some level. I don't know if I would go as far as saying full, diverse kind of all around competency when it comes to leadership. And I'm talking, it doesn't mean that you're unable to do it. What it means is that there is a difference between what I often see happening, right? I just in the past week or two, I've had multiple players in RoK that have reached out to me and said, hey, I'm starting my own jumper project. Do you have any advice for me? Or, I'm no longer a part of that project. I've started my own now. Or I'll go into Discords that are just not set up fully before they start. I'm going to be a little more blunt here and say that if you start a project and your Discord is not fully prepared and ready before you start promoting that Discord, and this is what I'm talking about, right? We've covered this before, and I'm just going to simply show this again for what I mean. Right, which is, right, oh, hang on, these are just scores. let me remove those. And so this is what we're talking about, right? If you go into a project and I'm just talking the first top 10, right? And we've touched on this before, so I'm not necessarily going to do a deep dive on it. But if you don't at least see that they have a dedicated channel for every single one of these. And I'm not saying it has to be necessarily titled the exact same way, but just the not the vision, but the type of channel that resembles this or is this, right, where it covers this information, regardless if this is the name of the channel or not, right, number 11 is optional for me. But the first 10, if you go into a project and you don't see that at minimum they don't at least have these 10 channels, I would dip. I would. I would not give them the time of day. Why? Because to me, that's minimum. That's bare minimum, right? That's not even me telling you what my personal preferences are. That's just looking at it from a bare minimum foundation standpoint on what you need to be prepared. So that way you can come off to your community, to your project members professionally and come off as though, hey, you're well put together and you're not just winging it, right? So to me, that's important. I myself would never start promoting a project unless I have unless I have channels set up, those channels and more, but at minimum, those channels set up. I have information to fill those channels appropriately with the needed language and or context. And then, right, once I feel like, okay, hey, I'm in a good place, I got bots, I got roles, I've filled up all my channels, now I'm ready to start promoting. That to me is the first red flag, right? If you see that, that's a red flag. Don't join that project. Maybe if they run another project or once they get those things done, okay, then you can join and take a look. But I would not join projects that don't have those things done minimum because I just don't, because you have to understand, that's just from a preparation standpoint. That doesn't even count for what comes after that, which is in all reality more important. We're talking about you're just setting up your foundation. Once you get the channels and the information, then you have to maintain those. You have to provide consistent-ish updates, right, I would say, or consistent announcements, depending on the stage for where your project is. Then you have to do the things that are in those channels up until the point of when you jump. So you have consistent maintenance that you have to do. Then, and that's probably like stage 2, right, for the second red flag, right, if those things aren't being done consistently. Just depending on, you're not necessarily going to have to update every channel per se, but for the relevant ones, things like announcements, things like meetings, things like a ready check. These are just some channels that you have to maintain consistently. And then once you actually then once you do meetings, right, you have to hopefully come across as though you sound like you know what you're doing, right? That's number 3. So that would be the third red flag. Do you actually sound like you know what you're doing? Are you answering the hard questions that members are asking you? And are you answering them well enough to where that then instills confidence within your community? And then the fourth stage is now you're actually going through the jump process, right? Are you able to be that cool, calm customer that really settles the nerves with everyone and keeps people on pace? Can you make sure that things aren't getting left behind or things aren't getting procrastinated on or things aren't getting done? And that's just during the jump phase. And then number 5 is once you get into the actual kingdom. And man, there's just a whole new slew of stuff that you have to be able to do as a leader/project manager, right? Or if you are an alliance lead and or project manager or founder, if you want to call it that, right? Project founder. And so these things are really important to understand that not every single player is going to be proficient at doing these things. It doesn't mean that you cannot work your way up to become well-versed in these areas. I truly believe that anyone can be trained, anyone can be coached, can be educated, can be worked with and developed to where they can get to a point of being able to lead projects. But at the same time, you also have to deal with the personal characteristics, which is that not everyone's a people person. Not everyone likes to answer hundreds of questions a day. Not everyone likes to be on Discord in more of a managerial sense, right? Or in-game operating in a managerial sense. Not everyone barely likes to play the game, right? And so these are things that you realistically have to understand, that you are stepping into almost an entirely different capacity as an individual being involved, not playing, but being involved in Rise of Kingdoms when you decide to step into what I would consider to be leadership, right? Which is an R5 leader and or a project lead or founder. And that's the thing that I notice the majority of players that I have seen run projects or start a project just don't initially understand. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just you don't know what you don't know. It's out of sight, out of mind, because most of the time you've either never done it before, or two, you have done it, but you're kind of in this definition of insanity type model where you think, or sometimes you think that it's other people, or you think that it's X factors or miscellaneous things that aren't necessarily on you or fall on you, or you don't, if you're the type who doesn't take accountability or responsibility for what happens in a project, right, depending on obviously what is for you, at least acknowledging it to some degree, and obviously how much is depending on the situation, of course, because not everything is always going to be black and white, but these are things that are important. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen projects start up, even just in the past couple of weeks. There's already been a couple projects that we've covered that are now no longer there because either leaders or project leads or other leads just didn't think things were going well, or leaders dropped off and they didn't want to keep going because they would have had to find more leads before they started, or maybe they had already started and then leads dropped off and they just kept going instead of stopping and restarting so they could postpone and be more prepared before they actually started officially. I mean, I'm talking seeing anything and everything under the sun, right? And these are things I've seen before. And it's just funny to me that really, if you just think about like the solution for this, it's doing things like workshops, right? It's doing things like, holding like leader sessions, right? On how to be a project lead, on how to be a leader of an alliance. I have guides. I have video guides for these on my channel, even on my Discord and dedicated resource channels. Doing these types of things, or even better yet, right? Working with a project that is professionally organized, professionally structured, so you can learn from them. What's funny is that, I don't know if I'd say it's funny, but just a fact of the matter, quite a few projects that are currently going on right now, for those that are leaders and or officers in them, were once leaders and or officers in my projects. And I could go through each of them and show you like DM chat history, and I could like name people who are there, which isn't a slight at all, but it does just go to show you that quite a few of these people were previously working with me on projects and are now going. Now, I'm not saying I'm giving, all of these individuals, so to speak, kind of like my vouch or my word, if you will, on, oh yeah, they're going to do amazing. I could probably only count maybe the amount of people on one hand, right? Give or take, that I would truly give my accreditation, if you will, right? That I would vouch for and say, yeah, this person or this individual knows what they're doing. And it's just because it's just kind of few and far between. There's no classes for this, right? It's you really have to kind of have a knack for knowing what to do on a management side, and then figuring out how you can apply those things to RoK in-game, and then outside of game as well. So again, with that in mind, these are things I just think are really important. And unfortunately, it feels more often than not that they're just pushed to the wayside. And it's almost like everyone thinks it's like that idea of everyone thinks they can be an internet sensation, or, all people need is a phone or a video camera, and they can immediately become, a social media sensation. It's not like that. You have to put work in. And sure, some people will get lucky here and there, I believe, is a factor. But I do believe that what's more of a factor is hard work and dedication, and humbling yourself and taking time to research and educate yourself and learn, right? If you think about like doing a work study program, or you think about learning a trade, right? You think about things like on-the-job training, right? Where some people will say that they'll probably get more out of being on the job and learning from someone that they're shadowing or watching compared to just, sitting in a classroom all day and trying to learn the job. And that's kind of similar in a sense, where I do think that combining those efforts is, the best way to probably do it. However, what far too often doesn't happen is that no one really takes the time to educate themselves or look for resources out there on how to do these things more efficiently. And I'm happy, don't get me wrong, I'm happy that I have resources out there. I have a whole section on my Discord, just to give you an example. Right, I have, where's my thing here? One sec. Let's go RoK Jump. Let's go resources. Right, I have a whole thing on here on managing. Right, I have a whole thing on here on jumper resources. I've even sent stuff to individual players. Let me see if I can find someone that I can just think of. How about this guy? Gold. Oh no, hang on. Maybe not that guy. Let's just look for someone. Right. Okay. Here. How about this person named Kronos? Let's see. Nope. Dang it. I thought I would have. Here, hang on. Let me find one more. Right? Like I've sent stuff to project leads and officers before. Hang on. I just got to find like one person. How about this person, Freya? Maybe I've sent something to Freya. Nope. Wow. I'm so shocked. Wow. Man, I want to show you guys this. Like I'm like really going to dig for this now. I'm totally committed. Okay, here. How about Crusher? I'm pretty sure I sent something to Crusher. No. Okay. Gosh, man. I need to find this, right? Everyone's like, yo, dude, you're just sifting through people's DMs. Not on purpose. Like, trust me. There's some method behind the madness here. Ugh, gosh, I don't even know where I'm going to find it now. But point is I've sent stuff to players, and I'm going to keep looking while I talk. But I've sent stuff to players that will... Okay, here's a good example. Okay, so here's a good example, right? So here we go, right? So I sent this to Joker, right, or Not Real Cynical. And you can just see as an example, right, it comes with jumper process and resources. I have parts on creating a jumper project, managing, and then I have some additional resources that I send when it comes to, like, once you finally get into the kingdom, right? And no one asks, you know, some people ask me for this stuff, and other times I'll just send it to them, and then pretty much 99% of the time I'll get back, oh, thank you, boss, for sending me this. This is great. And those are the types of things, and I need to actually add that here. I need to make a channel here and basically copy paste that and just put it here. But it just goes to show you that, you know, if you looked at other content creators, right, there's no one else right now as a content creator, and this isn't to slight anyone again, it's just to say that I haven't seen any of this. I don't know any other RoK content creator that has put out content on, you know, how to manage kingdoms, how to manage player expectations, how to manage a jump project, how to create a jump project, right? How to do a lot of these things that I really believe kind of fall more into what I think is more of the majority importance of content that more players should see, right? Sure, it's great to have progression-based content, leveling content, hero pairing content, how to do PvP, etc., right? How to do well in events. That content is always going to be necessary. But the bigger parts of content, right, I would argue just as equal, if not more important, is managing a player's day-to-day experience and their expectations. Because that's what you're doing every single day. You're not always going to be participating in every single event. You're not always going to be participating in every single PvP. But you are going to be playing and active on either a daily basis or just for whenever you get on. And kind of managing those expectations, whether you're deciding to be a jumper, be a player, be a member of management in a project, start your own project. These are things that I truly believe are very important to do. And so, again, right, I hope that, you know, I hope that those people that are watching this video, if you take anything away from this, I hope that you can at least see the passion that I have, the enjoyment I have for helping people, for providing what I hope are beneficial resources to basically, it's that saying, right? It's a rising tide lifts all boats. If I can help every single one of these projects get to what I would consider to be a 10 out of 10 just in their preparation phase, I'm going to take that as a win. Because that means that all of the new players and or the restarting players that are joining these projects have a higher percentage chance now of having a better time and hopefully being in a more successful project, or a higher percentage chance to be in a successful project. And that is a win, right? I love seeing people having great day-to-day experiences, and I like to try to minimize the amount of poor day-to-day experiences that players have. So anyways, that's my spiel, right? Again, if you take, I guess the big summarization here is, you know, hopefully people that decide to start projects or become leaders in projects just take it more seriously, right? Because it is. And it's the responsibility you have and the accountability that you have as a project leader, a project manager, a project founder, and leaders that join, even extended to officers, where you are a steward to the players, right? You are there to support them and to give them the best opportunities to be successful. And so anyways, that's, like I said, that's my spiel. So, you know, even if this just resonates with one person, I'll be happy. But that's going to do it for me. As always, I hope you guys enjoy. Until next time, I will catch you later.